Bwong. Holy crap.
Hey guys! Last weekend marked the 20th anniversary of the release of the very first Fallout game, and the subsequent beginning of the Fallout franchise. A lot has changed over the years, most notably developers, but one of the handful of staples that have remained from game to game, canon or not, has been the iconic Brotherhood of Steel. Post-apocalyptic knights in shining power armor, plasma weapons blazing in the green light of radiation, and miniguns spinning throughout all the wastelands of post-apocalyptic Northern America. But most notably, wink, the topic of today's video. As a last quick note before we begin, yes, it probably would have been more appropriate to do this last week, but we felt it best to finish the two-parter we had going first so as not to leave people hanging. Now, without further ado, here we go. The history of the Brotherhood of Steel.
The Brotherhood of Steel, as it would come to be known, was founded in part by Roger Maxson, a captain in the US military before the world ended. When the nukes dropped and everything went to pot, the captain and his men were stationed at a secret military base with a cadre of scientists. Scientists who were, for the most part, wiped out by Maxson and his men after they discovered the heinous manner in which said scientists had been conducting their experiments on unwilling, though convicted, live subjects. It was after this series of executions that Maxson and his men discovered the world had ended. See, their installation was so well protected that they hadn't really noticed when the world blew itself to Kingdom Come. It wasn't until after they radioed for orders after the execution of most of the science teams that they discovered what had happened. Met with silence over all channels, Maxson sent out scouts, and scouting foyers plus science plus time equals knowledge of the world's collapse.
Maxson and his men holed up in the base for some time, but they weren't the only bomb-drop survivors, and eventually it was deemed better to find some other place to live rather than continue to fend off attacks where they were. So, Maxson, his soldiers, the surviving scientists, at the hidden military base, trekked off into the wild and unforgiving wilderness of the newly minted post-apocalypse. And after several weeks of travel, arrived at Lost Hills, not to be confused with Silent Hills. Government fallout shelter. It was here that Maxson's men settled, and that the Brotherhood of Steel was founded. Maxson and his people suffered greatly on the journey from the science post to the fallout shelter. Between seeing the remains of humanity scrounging over scraps like wild dogs, and having had to fend them off back at the science post, Maxson and his people decided that they were the best equipped people, both literally and figuratively, to rebuild humanity after the post-apocalypse. And they resolved that they would survive to do so, whatever the cost.
All of this happened, of course, back near the beginnings of the post-apocalypse, in which all of the Fallout games take place, giving the Brotherhood centuries to grow, evolve, and become what we know it to be when they're first encountered in the original Fallout, a few hundred years after their creation. In that time, the Brotherhood established itself as an isolationist group with a simple goal, and a practical structure. Their goal? Ensure the survival of humanity and the preservation and understanding of advanced technologies, both new and old. The Brotherhood is famously hesitant and strict in their sharing of advanced technologies, as they deem most outsiders incapable of using such power responsibly. And even though this means that they make trade difficult for those who deserve it, to be fair, anyone who's played any of the Fallout games knows, they're mostly right.
The organization's structure is easily explained through the symbolism of the Brotherhood's insignia. There are two accepted interpretations for the symbol. One is effectively the Brotherhood's mission statement, which we've sort of already glossed over, and the other is more a breakdown of the group itself. So we'll start with the structural interpretation. There are 4 orders within the Brotherhood of Steel. You could consider them branches of speciality, as well as rankings within the hierarchy of the Brotherhood itself. At the top of the pecking order are the Elders, represented by the Wings. They are the leaders of the Brotherhood and rule the organization through a council. It should also be noted that over the course of its history, from Fallout 1 to Fallout 4, that the head of the main Brotherhood's branch of Elder Counselors is almost always a descendant of Maxson.
Next in the Order's ranks are the Paladins, the highest rank one can attain below Elder, and the pool of individuals from whence all new Elders are chosen. Paladins are selected based upon a number of qualifications, all of which are supposed to lead to being absolute badasses. As such, they are represented by the sword, as the Paladins themselves are considered to be the Brotherhood's mightiest weapons. Not their power armor, not their advanced weaponry, nor their nifty tech, but the men and women themselves who can earn the rank of Paladin. Though, let's be honest, the toys help.
Next, we have the Knights, represented by the largest of the 3 gears. Though not necessarily the most important of the 3 remaining factions, they are the most visible and form the backbone of the Order. The Knights are the fully trained soldiers of the Brotherhood of Steel, the ones that go out, take names, and recover tech.
Next, represented by one of the two smaller gears, we have the Scribes. The Scribes are the scientists, doctors, and generally the smart guys in the group, playing support role to the Knights, and the rest of the Order. Researching new technology, retrofitting old tech, patching up the Knights, and teaching initiates what they need to know to be worth anything. Basically, they're Q for the Paladins and Knights.
Lastly, we have the Initiates, the lowest-ranking members of the Order, represented by the last of the smaller gears. They are the newbies, the probies, the gophers, the group made up of those too young or too inexperienced to be considered for any of the other factions. It is while wearing the mantle of Initiate that members of the Brotherhood train to become anything else. Scribe or Knight, even the greatest Paladin and wisest Elder was once an Initiate, and though they are the lowest-ranking and least important members, it should be noted that making the rank of Initiate is still an impressive feat, as it requires a degree of trust from the Elders that is respected within the Brotherhood itself, as well as being a generally difficult feat for outsiders to achieve.
The mission statement, if you will, of the core Brotherhood, also referenceable by the Brotherhood's insignia, is as follows. The gears, forming the heart of the symbol, represents the engineering knowledge that the Brotherhood has, as well as their determination to gain more. The sword is the Brotherhood's will to protect and defend themselves against all odds and all comers. The wings represent the uplifting hope that the acquisition of lost technologies brings to the Order and to mankind as a whole. A hope for the salvation of humanity itself. The circle represents the unity that makes the organization a true brotherhood.
Those are their basic tenets. Find and secure technology to ensure the survival of the human race. As the organization expanded, rising, falling, and pushing out from California all the way to the East Coast in Fallout 4, local chapters adopted different parts of their original goal and plan more or less fervently, with chapters in some states being less strict about sharing tech, for example, or being more willing to recruit members, or even being more isolationist than the original group. As is to be expected with a large organization that for some reason hasn't figured out decent long-range communication.
So we're talking no phones, no Morse code, nothing that can go longer than 20 feet within their base.
Or maybe a few miles.
Maybe.
But definitely not across the country. And, well, that's basically it for the Brotherhood of Steel. Don't get me wrong, there are absolutely more stories involving them.
They're an important group in Fallout 1 as the de facto advanced technology hub, and it's all but impossible to get the meat of the primary questline without messing with them.
In Fallout 2, they remain a powerful group, though more secretive and less central to the plot.
In Fallout 3, they're vital as you team up with them to throw giant robots at the bad guys, and one member even goes with you all the way to the final choice of the game.
Boo! And even in Fallout 4, they're one of the major factions you as the player use to shape the wasteland.
They also make appearances in every other Fallout game, including New Vegas and others.
So there are plenty more stories to tell, and if you want us to, let us know what you'd like to hear or learn more about. Or maybe there's something non-Fallout related you want to see us do a video on. Either way, let us know in the comments below, on Twitter, or on Facebook.
Happy 20th anniversary, Fallout! This has been Two Men and a Mic, signing off. Hey guys, you can click the link in the left for our last lore video.
You can click the link on the right for our last Let's Play.
And right here in the middle, that orb, you can hit that to subscribe.
Also, ring the bell if you want to be notified when we post a new video.
This is Two Men and a Mic. Thanks for watching.